Alright, so it's recording. Just leave it be right there. What do you think about religion and spirituality?
Well, I do see them as separate things. They can be integrated. They can be together, but they don't necessarily have to be. I think religion is a body of experience or stories, culture that's handed down from generation to generation. And spirituality has to do with how you view the world, and thinking of it more than just a mechanistic system of something that has something beyond that. So religions tend to be things that come from people, at least from what I see, and historically they represent traditions, which are often changed and modified over time based on what people want to say and what their agendas are. And spirituality to me is something that can transcend that. It can be a little bit more than certain practices of religion or views on what God necessarily have to be. They don't necessarily have to be included in spirituality.
Okay, you seem to answer the following questions, but number
Sure.
2, how would you describe yourself at the present time in terms of faith, religion, and God?
Well, I don't see myself as necessarily believing the stories. I think they're good stories and interesting stories, and they have a lot to bring. I think understanding what our past mothers and fathers and grand people or descendants or antecedents from a long time ago have to say is an interesting thing, and there's a lot that we can gain from that. But it's pretty clear that religion is based on what people thought at that particular time when they came up with the religion, and it's pretty clear that if you happen to be born in one place, you get one religion, and you happen to be born in another place, you get another religion, and most people feel that all those things very fervently because it's how they were brought up.
Yeah.
But I think
which one out of those 6, or you could just say other, would you describe yourself as?
Well,
those are pretty general terms.
yeah, they are, and the problem is it's always based on relative to some established religion, and all the things. So, do I believe in the Christian God or the Jewish God or things like that? No. I see myself as a questioner.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm pretty sure that there's not a Judeo-Christian God who punishes and who is watching us all the time, and those kind of things that are part of organized religion. I certainly think there's a unity to the universe, and I think as a scientist, I can justify that by looking at quantum mechanics and seeing that there are things in the universe that know about one end of the universe to the other, that a particle can know what's going on at one end of the universe relative to another and behave that way. So there's certainly an opening for that. I certainly think when you look at yourself and what you're made out of, stardust, and the fact that you're going to go back to that eventually, provides some degree of humility to even thinking about that. But that there is some kind of unity to what we see. There's not necessarily a purpose,
Yeah.
And I think men and women, humanity makes their own purposes. We have the ability to choose, and that's what we do. So we can choose to do good things, and I think that's good. And I think that there is a certain moral imperative that we can grow up with and learn that leads to satisfaction and leads to respect for the universe and respect for individuals. But I certainly don't believe in established religions. I think their traditions are interesting and useful, and they're a great way to bind communities together.
Different areas and stuff.
I certainly don't believe that the universe was established in 7 days and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
That is pretty arbitrary, that exists in a lot of religions.
Okay, so number 3, how did religion, spirituality, or God influence you growing up? Did they play a significant role in your family life?
They played a small role. I come from a Jewish tradition, and so I was part of that growing up. I was bar mitzvahed, which means that I did the traditional ascent into manhood at 13 years of age, and I felt I was culturally Jewish, and I still am culturally Jewish, and I feel strong ties to that religion and to the people who are part of that and the history that we've been through. But I don't think it was a very strong pull. I feel strongly about the fact that my mother and her family were very religious. I didn't have that necessarily as part of my direct upbringing, but it does lead to a stronger sense of self that way. But in any case, I think certainly as I went to college and then went into the work world, I became less religious. And a follow-on question I'll kind of answer now is that I do feel that as I got older, the idea of spirituality and kind of the feeling of us being more than just mechanisms became something more important to me, and I think it's been enhanced by being at the Priory and being at a spiritual place. I respect the religion that is here, and I've been privileged to participate in that, be a part of it, and understand it. And so having the Jewish and the Catholic Benedictine tradition really helps me to put things in perspective, and I think it's helped my spirituality. And has teaching science and teaching physics has helped my spirituality a lot too. Seeing what's going on in the frontiers of that really puts you into a certain perspective on the universe. So I certainly think that over the last 10, 15 years, I've been investigating and been thinking more about that and feel I'm more of a spiritual person.
Yeah, I just got a little. You answered the next one too. Yeah, after that, it's good that I sent it to you.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna skip to number 6.
Sure.
What are your views about organized or institutional religion? Does it do more good than harm? Is it outdated? Is it too controlling? What kind of future do you think it has?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think in general people are searching for the structure, and religion provides that. On the other hand, religious power, as it accumulates into a major religion, tends to be abused, and that's part of history. I mean, it's very clear. From Catholic popes to evangelists to all kinds of people, when they get power, and regardless of how it comes about, whether it's religious power or otherwise, Iran, it tends to be corrupting, and it tends to make people more narrow-minded. So, and certainly there's been plenty of killing and suffering and pain as a result of religion.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we do need binding things in our lives. We need things where we can share, where the other person is not an alien, and those kind of things do enhance that. I had a conversation with a gentleman in Kenya when I was at Daraja, who was part of a religion called the Assembly of Yahweh, and the fact that we were able to talk about that, it's kind of a mix between Christian and Jewish.
Oh, okay.
And we had something to talk about, and it enhanced our communication. So
they kind of like binded you, even like across the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So I have a dichotomy there that I see. As a Jew, of course, we find organized religion has created a lot of suffering from our part, from ghettos all the way to pogroms and to a variety of different things. So I can't say one way or another. It's there. It's not going away. I think that in the long term, people continue to come back to it because it's a easy structure to have uncertainty removed and to have no doubts. And while intellectually and rationally, I'd like to see us not have to rely on that. I think that as human beings who are not necessarily perfect and not necessarily purely rational, we tend to need things like that. I'd like to see religions be, a little more tolerant.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be nice.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Number 7, does the Priory's identity as a Catholic school pose any challenges or problems or raise any questions in your mind?
Well, I think when I first started, it created some challenges. How was I going to integrate into the community? How was this different tradition, which I didn't really know a lot about, how is it going to sit with me? Could I do what I wanted to do, teach, and still be a part of it? And I feel that those issues, from my perspective, have gone away, and I feel very comfortable with it. I feel comfortable with the differences that I have, and also the traditions that I participate in as part of the Benedictine community here. And I think this is a very tolerant place and a very respectful place, and I think that has done as much as anything to make me feel comfortable about the difference of religion that I come from and that I see versus what is here for the most part.
Yeah, just like what I've heard from like other Catholic schools, like my old Catholic school, it's really tolerant here compared to like other schools. Like there was only like one non-Catholic, but here it's like I'm the only Catholic in my class. It's a Catholic school, so
right.
I mean, it's good to have that.
Yeah.
Number 8, what do you think your spiritual future will be like?
Well, I think we're all on a journey, right? And so
Yeah.
we don't know what it's going to be until we get there. I continue to enjoy being at a school where I can see how other people practice their religions, but also through science and physics, I can learn a lot about some of the issues that deal with the nature of the universe. And I think that continues to blend in my mind. I guess I probably could be considered a humanist, if anything,
Yeah.
Of all. And so I think this is a good environment for that. So how does that go? I'm not really sure. I think I have a path in terms of that. You never know when you find something new. As long as you keep an open mind
Yeah.
and open heart, I think you can continue to develop as a human being.
Just a separate question. I was just thinking of this. Like, I get the opportunity to like question like a scientist and I'm like a science teacher. What do you think about the whole like science versus religion? Like, do you think they could coexist? Do you think only one could? I know they have been kind of coexisting, but there's been arguments.
Yeah. Well, fundamentally, they are diametrically opposed. The science views knowledge as based on experience and observation, and religion based on faith. And there are areas where those conflict. The only areas where they don't conflict are places where we don't know anything in terms of scientific knowledge. So I think there are differences that you have to see, and I'm firmly in the rationalist realm, but I think you can be rationalist and also spiritual, and so they do conflict. But I think if you're respectful, everybody can get along.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.